Peter Webber, you have been around the island and made quite a name for yourself for your extraordinary pastries. We'll go back to that later, but you do other things as well.
Yes. Well, I run the restaurant also now. We have the restaurant now where we serve breakfast, lunch and dinner. And we do afternoon teas, Sunday roast. We do a very nice Sunday roast every week. And many other things as well. And of course, my cakes are the speciality of the shop.
We will talk about your cakes. Talk about your Sunday lunches though, because they're spectacular.
So we do a Sunday roast every week. We have a salad bar, which you can see today we have on today. And then we have a selection of roast meats. It's sort of more English style now. And then you come in and we have the salad bar, we have a selection of starters, and then the roast, and then some nice desserts as well at the end of it. So it's sort of like a served Sunday roast, but a little bit more as well.
Yeah. Situated here at Diables Lagoon, right in the middle of the island.
Yeah, right in the middle of the island, and the roadworks as well. No, we're right in the middle of the island.
Yeah. Let's have a talk about your cakes, because I think people probably know Les Diables best for the amazing cakes. That's not only something that you can do here at Diables Lagoon, but they get sold right around the island. So you can go to a cafe up in Maicao or Rawai and be having a Les Diables cake.
We do for other restaurants as well, for other coffee shops, yes.
What's special about your cakes?
No, I think we just we just do good ingredients and good style cakes. We don't cut any corners. No, I wouldn't say we're not so cutting edge cakes. No, we're more traditional cakes. No, more homemade cakes. And a lot of our cakes are sort of based on what we're getting for orders. No, so we're always serving in the shop what's getting ordered for special orders.
Well, your birthday cakes are legendary. But what are some of the more spectacular ones you remember? There's probably ones you can't even print.
Put it on TV.
Yeah.
And we do many different sort of depends on the occasion. We just did one actually yesterday for a 50th. It was a psychedelic party. So the cake was very psychedelic looking, and we did a model of the gentleman. Now it was his birthday. Now it was actually worked very well. So we had a sort of silver sugar figure of him, and then it was filled with sort of colours around him.
Where did you learn your pastry making? Tell us all that.
School. I started with them. I wanted to do, when I was younger, my mother made us cook, so I sort of got interested in cooking, and I liked the baking aspect. I used to like to lick the bowl when I was younger, hence why I'm such a lovely shape now.
And tall,
of course. And then and then I wanted to be a chef now, because I also wanted to travel. I always wanted to leave England and go somewhere else now, because I always had a fancy for traveling now. And being a chef's actually a good way to travel now. So then when I did we used to cook with Mum, and then I did it in school, and I won a cake decorating competition. And then I started at 14 to sort of do a night course in confectionery, And then it sort of worked quite well, because I finished the confectionery course when I finished school, and then I went to college, and I actually still wanted to be a chef, but they told me my temperament was more for pastry,
What does that mean?
I was more artistic. No, I was more artistic. They said that I had more of a temperament for pastry. I like to do the finer details. They said the hot kitchen was I didn't have the stamina for it. That's what they said at the time. But now I actually enjoy cooking. I think because pastry is sort of pastry is very regimental. It's all weights and measures. And when you actually make the cakes, that's the boring bit. It's when you get to the decoration, that's what I enjoy most. And that's why I sort of now, as I get older, I actually enjoy both as much, but I like to be in the kitchen as well now, because there's not so much sort of you don't have to do it this way or that way. You just do a little bit of that, and then you do by taste.
You're saying that your cakes are sort of more traditional. What's different from?
Traditional as in the actual cake itself. We're not doing a lot of sort of these very modern style sort of French patisseries. No, you're not going to come in and find artworks in my vitrine. No? But you'll find a good cake. A good tasting cake, but it may not look like something you'd find in Pierre Hermé's shop. No, that's what I mean. We do some of it. It depends like I said, a lot of it depends what our customers order. So you will find some occasionally. We do make modern stuff as well now, macaroons and cupcakes and hotcakes and all that. But I like to keep to sort of the traditional way of making it now, because I've had a very traditional upbringing of culinary. I was in that sort of that era just before the Nouveau Cuisine, and then worked into the Nouveau.
Well, something
I'm old-fashioned, not like I'm old-fashioned now. My cakes are not old-fashioned, I don't know.
you can't be accused of the big plates with the little thing in the middle with the juice all over.
Right, that's right, and you won't get that if you come to my restaurant, and certainly not for the Sunday roast as well, as you know yourself.
Right. So, what is sort of the hot thing in cakes at the moment? Are there trends each year, and what's sort of big this year? What?
Well, cupcakes sort of had its trend, and that's sort of gone now. And then pop cakes came in.
What's a pop cake?
Pop cake is it's basically like a lollipop cake. So it's a round, small cake on top of a lollipop stick, and then you just decorate them up any way you want. You either make a Mickey Mouse head or a bride or a groom, anything you like now. And inside is sort of like any flavour cake, but it's sort of like crunched up and then rolled into a ball. So it's like a truffle on top of a stick, and then it's dipped in chocolate, and then you decorate it. They're actually quite fun now. They're quite fun for kids' parties if you do different sort of animation figures and stuff like that now. They're quite fiddly as well now.
Right. So
Somebody said afterwards also like marshmallows was meant to be also one that was going to take it over, but marshmallows sort of came, but it didn't really make a big impact. No, I think the pop cakes were the next one, and after that, I think actually now in cake decorating, I think there's a return to actually the more very traditional styles of decorating now. You know, it's a bit like art now. It sort of goes through this period because it's sort of like to do with like, you know, then you get simplify everything, and then people want a little bit of detail back in it. So I'm finding out when people come to order cakes, especially on the wedding cake front, people are actually looking for something a little bit more intricately decorated.
right. Time for the sales pitch. What time are you open, and how can people get in contact with you?
We're open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 p.m. at night, and they can get in touch with me on 081 935 0454. We have a Facebook page, Les Diables. You can contact us on that, and a website, www.lesdiablesphuket.com.
Now, the other thing that people talk about is how to pronounce the name of is it Les Diables? Is it Lady? I think we decided it was Les Diables, didn't we?
Les Diables. But if you actually do pronounce it correctly, it's Le Diable, and you don't pronounce the ES on the end, as you know, because you're the French expert.
Well, I'm not a French. I did 7 years of French at school, but I remember going to France and trying my French, and nobody understood a word I said.
I have the same problem here with Thai. Yeah. No, so I think we just decided that it was sort of like a simple way to pronounce it that everybody can understand, rather than pronounce it the exact right way, which I think is more difficult for local people to pronounce.
And it's here at Boat Lagoon. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Tim.